Hi, I'm Rachel Boucher, Head of Content and Event Marketer here at the Caterpillar booth at CES 2026, where AI and autonomous solutions are transforming construction, engineering, and mining work. Let's take a look. All right, we're here with Steve Dionne, Marketing Manager at Caterpillar. Steve, thanks for having us, and tell us about what you're looking to accomplish at CES this year with the booth.
You know, it's really an opportunity for our new CEO to roll out his new strategy for CAT, which is really focused on digital and technology products. Specifically for us, that means AI and autonomy. And so as we're out here on the outside of the booth, we really wanted to create an opportunity for people to become immersed into this new Caterpillar experience, specifically around our Caterpillar iconic triangle that's in our brands.
And it's a new look this year too, and I'm hoping you can take us around, but tell us about what went into the design process as we're standing here at the opening.
It was really an iterative team process, working with our agency Outerkind to go out and understand what the different needs were of our large company and what we really wanted to focus on. And so as we started really large and kind of honed in on really focusing on the technologies that help us solve our customers' toughest problems, we wanted to kind of unveil to the world a little bit more about this company that people see every day in a way that might give them the impression that they're a lot more than the Caterpillar they know from the working in their neighborhoods, working on the roads, working on the bridges, and show them that an old 100-year company can actually be a technology giant in the things that they're bringing to the market.
Now here at CES, there are a lot of technologies that are kind of intangible, and that creates a challenge to bring it to life. With Caterpillar, you got a mix of both. You have these incredible, huge machines and the intangible technology. And so I'd love for you to walk us through how that's coming to life.
I'd love to show you. Yeah, let's go on in.
Love the entry moment, by the way. I'm big on that this year. I feel like it really works well.
And for us, so you'll notice some blue hues, and that's a part of our new brand refresh. So the Caterpillar iconic yellow that everybody has always known, we wanted to start to give people this sense of maybe there's a little bit more to it with some of the blue hues. And so those really represent the digital and technology focus that you're going to start to see in our brand refresh. And so this is the first time that we're really bringing it out. And we wanted to do it in a way that was immersive and let people know they were really entering a unique space. And so then as we kind of built out the rest of the space, you'll see those little blue hints throughout, which is new and exciting for Caterpillar.
Excellent. Yeah, we've been talking at the show a little bit about how technology comes to life in design. And I love that you're talking about the color play to kind of tease that, right? That story. All right, so where are we here? We're looking at a little bit of a history of CAT.
You know, a lot of companies come to CES and they talk about who they want to be in 10 years and the things that they have coming in the future. We wanted to kind of turn that on its head and past cast rather than future cast to let people know that Caterpillar has this really rich autonomous history. And we were one of the first companies involved in developing some of the original artifacts that are used today, but we've been doing it for 30 years. And so as we designed this space, it was really intended to be a look back at our history. And then as you rotate through the rest of the exhibit, we unpack where we are today and where we see this going in the future. And so these are actually artifacts from the Caterpillar library that go back all the way to 1996. And so while, again, a lot of folks are showing where they're going, we thought it was important to show people where we've been.
Awesome.
So as we go through the last 30 years of Caterpillar being in the autonomous space, we wanted to give kind of this museum experience. And so as we brought all these in, we wanted to build these illuminated plinths that would really kind of draw people's attention to it in a museum style where it could be self-curated. Again, it builds this foundation of trust that while a lot of other companies might be talking about their couple of years in autonomy, we have this history that makes us really leaders in our industry, but also just leaders in the autonomous space across other industries as well.
Great.
And so as we move through the space, we very intentionally designed it to be, again, this where we were, where we are, and where we're going experience. And so as we move to this board, this is where we are today. And so with the help of Outerkind, they helped us to map out where all of the autonomous sites are that are running around the world. But we didn't just want to give this zoomed out view. We've given an opportunity to really dive in and take a look at a couple of our specific sites. So we're highlighting a site in Wyoming as well as a site in Virginia where our customers can actually use this. They can click in, and we've done a live to tape experience from a couple of weeks ago where we set up GoPros and site cameras with these two sites. And what I really like about how this came together is we intentionally didn't overproduce. You'll notice with this camera up here on the top, which is the overall site cam, that it moves, and that's just the wind. And so we didn't want it to feel glossy and overproduced. We wanted it to be a true representation of what autonomy in these applications actually looks like. And so what you're seeing here in the middle is where it says Cat 77 truck is actually that truck that's coming across the screen right now. And then the loader that's running right beneath it, he's actually up in that top right-hand corner. And so while that is a human operator, you also have these trucks that are running around the site autonomously. And so he's really the orchestra leader of the fleet, and the rest of the machines are moving at his whim. So you can see he's loading another truck. This site has 4 trucks, but we also wanted to give people a peek at some of the data that goes into this. And so we picked a couple of pieces that our attendees would be able to consume and understand. So it's speeds, and it's how much rock is being loaded, and how much are they producing, and what is the exhaust. We wanted the data to be stuff that was easy to understand, but just give them a little peek at how complex some of this data is. I'm going to continue through to our theater as it completes the story of our past, present, and future. And so this is, we decided to use this space to curate a couple of different experiences. And so we have 2 videos that are running every 15 minutes. Knowing the dwell time of folks at CES, we wanted to run a little bit more frequently so that the message could come through. And so again, working with Outerkind and some of their vendors, we built this to show where we see the next step of autonomy going, which is really in construction products. And so this experience turns on about every 15 minutes. There's sensory pieces that go with it. The lights change in here. We start to tune the music a little bit so that people are aware that something is about to happen, building a little bit of curiosity about what's this large screen about to unfold for me. And so the other piece for us that you'll notice within our booth is that Caterpillar this year was one of the CES keynote speeches. And so as we were designing this space, we had to be really in lockstep with what the keynote was going to be. And so we did that through some of the digital graphics as well as some of the wall graphics to ensure that there was a symbiotic relationship with the content that was going to be presented on the stage. And so for those that had the opportunity to see our keynote, you'll notice very similar looks and feels and how we are using our triangle and how we're demonstrating kind of this digital construction site. And so as the keynote was being developed and the booth space was being developed, those teams had to work really closely together to make sure that, one, the content was consistent, but also that the messaging that people were hearing in the keynote really came to life when they walked into our booth. And so we use this space to kind of make that blend between autonomy and AI come to life. And so while it starts to change, now all of a sudden it's not just this autonomous piece. All of a sudden it starts to become, all right, there's AI stuff going in here. How is AI applicable to this industry, and how can we make that come to life too? Where AI has always been very cloud and so it's a tough thing to represent and get people to really engage with. And so in the center of our exhibit, we actually have brought one of our machines that has AI built into it. And so this is an exciting time for our industry because as NVIDIA, our partner for this, as demonstrated during the keynote, is beginning to offer opportunities for on-machine AI. So now that allows us to unlock a lot of the technology that's built into the machines in a way that we've never been able to before. And so what we've done here with this exhibit is we've actually put in power lines up above the 306.
Hello.
And so during the day, every couple of hours, we do a demonstration where we actually turn this machine on and it demonstrates motion. We draw folks' eyes up to the power lines via calling it out, but also through a couple of light tricks that the team is able to do to demonstrate this real world environment. And so we really are focused on utility contractors that are working on water and electrical and natural gas, the things that are really that invisible layer of our physical world that are required to make shows like CES come to life. And so in this scenario, our two demonstrators, one sits in the cab and one is out working around the crowd inside the circle. And they're able to have a dialogue where they talk about what it's like in the construction world, really focused on safety and productivity and making sure that we stay invisible. We don't want to cause issues with traffic. We don't want to cause any issues with hitting something that we shouldn't. And so we are an industry that likes to kind of stay behind the scenes because if you know we're there, then oftentimes it's because something went wrong. The operator in the machine is able to say, "Hey, cat," and the machine responds. And so in the demonstration that we do, he actually utilizes a technology called e-sealing. So he says, "Hey, cat, I'm near some power lines. What can I do?" And the AI responds and says, "You actually have a feature built into this machine that will allow you to set a height ceiling that you won't go past. Would you like to set that e-ceiling?" "Yes, I would." And so he's able to raise the front end of the excavator, the boom, the stick, and the bucket, using AI, set where that limit is, and then simply pull back on the joystick and have the confidence that the machine isn't going to get into these power lines up ahead. We were excited about this too. We've added a couple of stickers and things onto it from the other side that really show these are high voltage lines. This is something you want to stay away from. And it was a natural way for us to get people to kind of look up and experience things that you might not know are there. And that's really what happens with our construction folks is they might be working and not know that something is above them. And so we wanted it to kind of disappear until you see it. And then your reaction was perfect. You go, "Oh, okay. Like there's something up there I need to be aware of." And as we were designing the space, that is exactly the reaction we wanted for people to have.
All right, so it looks like we're headed over to AI as the conversation continues in the space.
Yeah, so with our AI pods, so this is something that we actually launched here, the Cat AI Assistant, we launched here at CES. And so while we just talked about AI in the machine, we also have a ability to have an AI assistant outside of the machine for all of the other people that are working in and around the job sites. The equipment managers, the technicians that are working on them, they have questions every day about how does this? And so by building this Cat AI assistant, we give them the opportunity to comb through 100 years of material and very quickly surface the answers to the questions that they have. And so this is a booth that we have manned. We want to make sure it's curated with some of our staff that are able to go as deep as this or as the visitors want to go. So We have some people who just want to push the buttons and see what it does. Some of our other visitors want to know, what is the technology stack behind this? Who are you using to help build out this AI? And so each of these pods has a person that has a depth of knowledge that can go equal to whatever the guest is that's visiting us is wanting to go. We've got microphones in there so people can actually understand how our multimodal system works. It's not just touchscreen. It will pick up their voice. It will interact with them. And so this was an exciting way for us to address what I was talking about earlier, bringing that AI concept. How do you bring that to life? And I'm excited to see how we've done it here, as these have been quite busy during the last couple of days of the show.
And I love the pods because they do feel, you step inside and you can have a personal, whatever matters to you feels like it matters in that pod.
Yeah.
And to have a sort of a staffer who knows and understands that walking you through it is terrific.
And we've been very intentional in the design so that the sound stays in
it's
here.
Quiet.
We know coming to shows that you can sometimes overload your exhibit with sound and too much sensory movement. And so we really wanted something that felt like it kind of hugged you when you stepped into it, to again make something like AI feel like it's approachable and personal, and so you can have these really nice conversations with our visitors, actually stepping in and having that experience. So this is another example of us bringing AI to life. And so what you'll notice is we've built this experience, which is produced to allow people to kind of step through and see exactly what some of those data points are. But we also wanted to visualize all of the data sources that go into it. And so in this example, you'll see that a question has been asked, and then using that same color palette that we have throughout the experience, we're showing people all of the different sources of data that are driving the answer that's being provided. And so this is, again, an experience where we have our staff here having that interaction and explaining exactly what's going on, but we wanted it to also be self-curated. And so kind of that blend of, you can do this yourself and it's set up in a way where you can understand what's going on. But if you did want to have a little bit more of an in-depth conversation, we do have a staff member here that's working. You'll also notice the large board up above. We actually have it set up so that we know that it exhibits. A lot of times people see a monitor like this and it's a singular person experience. We built it with some redundancy in a way that you can have a larger conversation with folks. And then for our really large conversations, we actually can change the content up above so that we can speak to a crowd. But we didn't want this on all of the time. And so we have the ability to run different graphics and things up there. We didn't want this wall space to always be just tied to this. And it helps bring together and bring to life this side of the booth in a way that we feel like we're using the space really efficiently. But when we do want to have those larger conversations with some of our investor groups and media groups that come in, we can zoom out and we can point people's eyes up here. And so it's intentionally built to be either a singular person, a small group, but we also wanted the redundancy to go into a place where if we do have large groups that come in, we can show that off as well. I'd like to show you one more thing as we work towards the exit. And so we know that with this crowd, there is a lot of times where we need a little bit of space for people to have conversations with influencers or have conversations with media. And so we've actually built into our exhibit what we refer to as our social studio. And so this is a space that we can bring in different content creators, or we can host interviews. Again, you're seeing that consistency of the color palette in here. Our executives, after their keynote, they were able to come in here and do interviews. We wanted to build this as kind of modern podcast kind of station. And so the iteration of the build for this started with the microphones, but it wasn't, we were constantly making those little adjustments to make it feel very comfortable, but also build it in a way that allowed people to see what's going on in here. But it's also very flexible. So even just the furniture that we've brought in, we've been thinking about different configurations. So setting up people on mics and having a camera outside, we're able to swing the chairs around, we're able to close it off. We can take chairs out and put them into our storage in the back. So we were very intentional in kind of building this space to be flexible, yet approachable, and give people that private space to have some of the conversations that they want to have.
Kind of gave me a vibe of the job site office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on in. Let's talk about what's going on in the job site.
A lot of these offices are sometimes set up kind of off of the action or up high on but this is like in the action. And I think it's got a great energy to it.
And then lastly, our exit. Now you'll notice we actually chose not to light the exit. We wanted folks to feel like when they're exiting that there's this sense of like, oh, I'm leaving.
And at a show like CES, we talked about this earlier, the entry moment is everything, I think, in a lot of cases. So accomplished.
And with our entry, the Caterpillar welcome desk that we have and seeing, so there's messaging on that back wall about, being driven by technology and being a technology leader. We wanted the A to really highlight all of the depth of things that we're trying to present. So for those that don't even walk into our booth, they just by seeing in, they see the Caterpillar brand, they see the iconic excavator sitting there, and they get that one message off of our large wall that we really want them to walk away with. So it was intentional in building out this closed experience, but we didn't want that to go too far. We wanted people to still be able to just walk by and go, Caterpillar technology, got it. And so while we wanted it to be closed and kind of feel like it was hugging you, as we were designing it, we still saw that there was moments where people simply walk by and might not come in, but that was still an opportunity for us to have some level of impact on their experience with us.
And then finally, one decision that you all made this year that was the right one, now that you're 3 days into the show, in the booth design and experience.
I'm really glad we have a machine here.
Yeah.
And for Caterpillar, historically with our shows, we brought all of the machines and we would line them up. And we went back and forth about, do we go as far as actually removing a machine? But people see it and they take pictures of it. And I'm so glad that we put in the extra work to make sure that the machine can demonstrate motion. And so while it seems like, we could have overdone having too many machines here, but we wanted this hero moment right in the middle of one of our most iconic machines to give people still that interaction with. So I'm really glad that we ended up putting all of the work required to bring a battery electric prototype machine into the space and be able to demonstrate some motion with it.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Thanks.
Steve, thanks for the tour.
It was our pleasure. Thank you.